Hello, and welcome to Super English Talks, the channel where you learn English and, at the same time, learn useful ideas that can help you in real life. I'm really happy you're here today. As always, our goal is simple: to help you improve your English speaking and listening skills, and also to give you knowledge that can make a difference in your daily life. So, take a moment to relax, maybe grab a cup of tea or coffee, and let's dive into today's topic. Today we're going to talk about something that affects every single person in the world, no matter where they live. Our topic is laws and compliance. Now, I know these words might sound formal or even a little difficult, but don't worry. I'll keep everything simple, clear, and easy to understand. By the end of this episode, you will know what laws are, what compliance means, and why both are so important for you, your family, and your community. Why do we need laws? Think of laws as the rules of the game of life. They are created to make sure everything is fair, safe, and organized. Imagine you are playing a game with your friends. What if there were no rules? Everyone would argue. Someone might cheat. Others might get hurt. The game would quickly fall apart. Life without laws would be exactly like that, but much worse. Without laws, there would be confusion, danger, and chaos everywhere. What is compliance? Compliance simply means following the rules. It's not only about obeying because you are forced to, but because following the rules makes life smoother and safer for everyone. For example, think about a red traffic light. Even if the road looks empty, most people stop. Why? Because it's the rule, and it keeps drivers and pedestrians safe. That's compliance in action. Why does this matter to you? You might be thinking, okay, laws and compliance sound important, but what does this have to do with me in my daily life? The truth is, laws and rules are shaping your day from the moment you wake up to the moment you go to sleep. You might not always notice them, but they're always there. When you lock your front door in the morning, property laws protect you and your belongings. When you buy something from a store, consumer laws make sure the product is safe and that you get what you paid for. When you wear a seatbelt, traffic laws are protecting your life. Even when you respect your neighbor's space and don't disturb them at night, you're following community rules that keep peace in society. So, whether it's driving, shopping, working, or even relaxing, laws and compliance are quietly guiding your actions and keeping life organized. A simple daily example. Let's imagine a very common situation. You're driving to work or school. On your way, you see traffic lights, speed limit signs, and road markings. All of these are created by law. If everyone follows them, the road is safe. People reach their destination on time, and accidents are less likely to happen. But what if people ignore them? If drivers run red lights or speed through the streets, chaos begins. Accidents happen. People get hurt. This shows us something important. Following laws is not just about avoiding punishment. It's about protecting ourselves and others. What exactly are laws? Let's define it clearly. A law is an official rule created by a government or authority. It tells people what they can and cannot do. Laws are not just advice or suggestions. They are rules that come with consequences. If someone breaks the law, there can be results such as paying a fine, facing penalties, or even going to jail, depending on the seriousness of the action. Think of laws as the instructions for living in a country. Just like a board game has instructions so everyone can play fairly, a society has laws so everyone can live together peacefully. Without laws, there would be no fairness. People with more power could take advantage of others. Communities would struggle to survive. That's why laws exist. To keep people safe, to make life fair, and to help communities work together smoothly. So today, as we continue learning about laws and compliance, I want you to notice how many small and big moments in your daily life are connected to rules. You may be surprised by how much they shape your day, even in ways you never thought about before. By understanding laws and practicing compliance, we don't just avoid trouble. We build safer, fairer, and more peaceful communities for everyone. Imagine living in a place where there are no laws at all. People could take whatever they wanted from stores, drive however they liked on the streets, and even hurt others without being punished. Life would quickly become dangerous, confusing, and unfair. That's why laws are so important. Laws give us a clear idea of what is acceptable and what is not. They protect people's rights, property, and safety. They also provide a fair way to solve problems when people disagree. In short, laws are like the invisible structure that holds society together. Laws in our everyday life. Even if we don't always notice them, laws are all around us every single day. Take traffic laws, for example. When you see a red traffic light, you stop. You stop not only because it's the rule, but also because it keeps everyone safe. If drivers ignored traffic lights, the roads would be full of accidents. Another simple example is shopping. When you go into a store, the law says you cannot just take something without paying. If you did, that would be stealing. This law protects business owners, and it also ensures fairness. Everyone has to give something in return for what they receive. Laws also protect people's homes and property. For instance, you cannot just walk into someone's house without permission. That's called trespassing, and it's against the law. This rule exists so that people can feel safe and secure in their own homes. Even something as simple as noise control is connected to the law. In many places, there are rules about keeping noise levels low at night. This helps everyone rest peacefully without being disturbed. These may seem like small examples, but together they show how laws quietly shape our daily routines. Often, we don't even notice them working in the background, but they're always there. The idea of fairness. One of the most important purposes of laws is fairness. A fair society is one where everyone is treated equally and follows the same rules. Traffic laws are a good example. They don't apply only to certain people, they apply to everyone. If you drive too fast, you can get a ticket, whether you are rich or poor, young or old. This fairness helps people trust the system. When rules are applied equally, people feel safe and respected. The idea of order. Another big purpose of laws is order. Without order, life would be messy, confusing, and unsafe. Imagine a busy city with no traffic signs, no pedestrian crossings, and no speed limits. Cars would move in every direction. Accidents would happen all the time. Pedestrians would be in constant danger. Order doesn't mean life is boring. It simply means life is organized. When things are organized, everyone can live together peacefully. Different places, different laws. It's also important to understand that laws are not the same everywhere. Different countries, and even different regions within the same country can have different laws. For example, the driving speed limit in one country might be 100 kilometers per hour, while in another country it could be 120 kilometers per hour. That's why, if you visit a new place, it's always important to learn their laws so you can follow them and avoid problems. Why laws are important. Some people might ask, why do we need so many rules? Don't they just make life harder? The truth is, most laws are not there to limit us. They are there to protect us, to protect others, and to make sure everyone can live together peacefully. Laws help us know what is right and what is wrong. They create a shared understanding that makes life safer, fairer, and easier for all. So next time you stop at a traffic light, pay for something at a store, or close your door at night, remember, these small actions are all connected to laws. And those laws are quietly making life better, safer, and more organized for you and everyone around you. So laws are not just pieces of paper written by the government. They are the framework that holds society together. Think of them as an invisible guide, a system that shapes how we live, work, travel, and interact with others every single day. Even when we don't notice them, they are working in the background to keep us safe, to make things fair, and to bring order to our lives. What is compliance? Now that we understand what laws are, let's move to a related idea. Compliance. This word may sound a little formal or technical, but the meaning is actually very simple. Compliance means following the rules. When you comply with a rule, it means you do what that rule asks you to do. So how is compliance different from laws? Let's break it down. A law is the rule itself. Compliance is the act of following that rule. Here's an example. If the law says you must wear a seatbelt in the car, the law is the rule. But compliance is you actually putting the seatbelt on every single time you drive. You could know the law, but still choose not to follow it. In that case, you are not compliant. Compliance is about turning knowledge into action, taking what you know and actually doing it. Everyday examples of compliance. Let's look at some simple, real-life examples. Wearing a seatbelt. The law says you must wear it. Compliance is when you put it on every time, not just when you see a police car nearby. Paying taxes. In many countries, people are required by law to give part of their income to the government. Compliance means filling out the forms correctly, paying the right amount, and doing it on time. If someone hides their income or delays payment, they are breaking the law and not being compliant. Workplace safety. Many workplaces have safety rules, like wearing helmets on a construction site, using gloves in a laboratory, or following emergency exit procedures. These rules may come from the government or from the company itself. Compliance means workers actually follow those steps every single day, even when no one is watching. This protects not only themselves but also their colleagues. Why compliance matters? Compliance is not only about avoiding punishment or staying out of trouble. It's much more than that. Compliance helps everything run smoothly. Imagine if half the people in your city decided not to follow traffic rules. Roads would quickly become dangerous and unpredictable. Accidents would happen all the time. Or think about a factory where workers ignored safety rules. Machines would break, accidents would occur, production would slow down, and people could get seriously hurt. Compliance is like the oil in a machine. Without oil, the parts grind together, break down, and stop working. With oil, everything runs smoothly. In the same way, without compliance, society and organizations don't function well. Compliance in organizations. In organizations, compliance is especially important because it builds trust. When a company follows laws about safety, fair pay, and caring for the environment, people respect it. Customers feel safe buying from them. Employees feel secure working for them. And the company avoids legal trouble. But when a company ignores rules, it risks losing money, damaging its reputation, and sometimes even being forced to close down. That's why compliance is not just about rules. It's about trust, respect, and responsibility. Not just government laws. It's also important to remember that compliance is not only about big, formal laws from the government. There are also smaller rules and guidelines from workplaces, schools, communities, or even families. For example, a school may have a rule about being on time. A company may require employees to dress safely in certain areas. A neighborhood may have quiet hours at night. Following these rules is also compliance. It shows respect for others and helps everything run smoothly, whether it's in a small group or an entire country. Compliance is not only about big laws from the government. It can also be about smaller rules in your daily life. For example, following your school's dress code, respecting your community's recycling rules, or keeping quiet in a library. In all of these cases, compliance simply means doing your part to keep order and respect the system. Now, some people think compliance is boring or unnecessary, but in reality, it is the thing that keeps life moving without constant problems. It is the reason you can trust that the food you eat in a restaurant is safe. It is the reason you can feel confident that a building is strong enough to live or work in. It is the reason you can walk on the street without worrying that every driver will ignore the traffic lights. So while laws are the written rules, compliance is the everyday habit of following those rules. Both are important, but compliance is what brings laws to life. Without it, even the best written laws would be useless. Why do laws and compliance matter in daily life? Now that we know what laws are and what compliance means, let's talk about why they are so important in our everyday lives. You might not always notice them, but laws and compliance are working quietly in the background every single day, making sure life runs smoothly. Without them, our lives would be more dangerous, more unfair, and far more stressful. Protection of people and property. First, laws and compliance protect people and their belongings. Imagine if there were no rules about stealing. Anyone could take your phone, your bag, or even your car, and nothing would stop them. Life would feel unsafe all the time. But because there are laws against theft, and because most people comply with these laws, we can live with a sense of security. The same applies to our homes. Laws say that no one can enter your house without your permission. This means you can sleep peacefully at night, knowing you are protected. Compliance is what makes these protections real, because people actually choose to respect them. Fairness and equality. Laws and compliance also make life fair. Fairness means that everyone is treated equally under the same set of rules. Take traffic laws as an example. They apply to everyone, whether you are rich or poor, young or old. If you run a red light, you can get a ticket just like anyone else. This equal treatment creates trust in society because people know the rules are not only for some, they are for all. Safety and health. Another big reason for laws is safety. Think about seat belts, speed limits, food hygiene, or workplace safety rules. All of these laws are designed to protect our health and our lives. When people comply with them, fewer accidents happen and more lives are saved. For example, seatbelt laws prevent serious injuries in car crashes. Food safety laws ensure that the meal you eat in a restaurant won't make you sick. Compliance with these rules literally saves lives. Solving conflicts fairly. Laws and compliance also help us solve problems and disagreements. People don't always get along. Neighbors may argue about property boundaries. Businesses may disagree over a contract. Without laws, these arguments could easily turn into fights or even violence. But laws give us a fair way to solve conflicts. A judge or court can look at the law and make a decision. Compliance means both sides accept and respect the decision, even if they don't like it. This keeps peace in communities and prevents problems from growing bigger. What happens when people don't comply? But what happens when people choose not to follow laws? That's when problems begin. Let's go back to a simple example: traffic rules. If a driver ignores a red light because they are in a hurry, they might cause a crash. That crash could injure them, other drivers, or even innocent pedestrians. Not complying with laws doesn't just break the rules, it puts lives in danger. And the more people ignore laws, the more unsafe and unpredictable life becomes. Another common place where laws and compliance are important is the workplace. Imagine a factory worker. If that worker doesn't follow safety rules, like wearing a helmet, gloves, or other protective equipment, they could have a serious accident. This is not only dangerous for the worker, but it can also harm the company. If an accident happens, production may stop, machines might be damaged, and the company can lose a lot of money. When laws are broken and compliance is ignored, the effects often spread far beyond one person. For example, if many people in a city stop paying for public transport, the transport system won't earn enough money. After a while, buses or trains may run less often, or the whole system might even stop. This affects everyone, not just the people who didn't pay. If companies ignore environmental laws, pollution can increase. The air can become dirty, the water unsafe to drink, and animals may lose their natural habitats. In this case, the whole community suffers. So you see, breaking the rules is not just a personal choice. It can hurt many people and even damage the environment. Laws and compliance as protection. You can think of laws and compliance as a kind of invisible shield. This shield is always around you, protecting you from danger, unfair treatment, and chaos. Without this shield, life would feel uncertain and unsafe. With this shield, we can live in an organized society where people respect each other's rights and work together. So next time you stop at a red light, pay for something in a shop, or follow a safety rule at work, remember this. You are not just avoiding punishment. You are actually playing your part in keeping the whole system running smoothly. Your compliance is a small action, but it's an important piece of the puzzle that makes daily life better for everyone. Types of laws. Now that we understand why laws are important and how compliance brings them to life, let's take a closer look at the different types of laws. Not all laws are the same. They cover different parts of life, and each type has its own special purpose. Today, we'll talk about 4 main types of laws: criminal laws, civil laws, family laws, workplace laws. I'll explain each one with very simple examples so you can easily understand. 1. Criminal laws. Criminal laws are about serious actions that harm people, property, or society. When someone breaks a criminal law, it's called a crime. Criminal laws are designed to protect people and keep order in society. Some common examples of crimes include stealing something, damaging property, hurting another person like hitting or attacking them. For example, if someone steals a phone from a shop, they have broken a criminal law. The police can arrest them, and the court may punish them with a fine or even send them to prison. Criminal laws are very important because they make sure dangerous actions have real consequences. They protect people and help keep communities safe. 2. Civil laws. Civil laws are different. They deal with disagreements between people, companies, or organizations. These are not about crimes, but about solving problems in a fair way. For example, if you sign a contract with someone to paint your house and they don't do the job, that's not a crime, but it is still a legal problem. You can take the person to court under civil law to get your money back or to make sure the work is done. Another example is when neighbors argue about where to build a fence between their houses. Civil law helps settle the disagreement peacefully, without fighting. So, civil laws are about fairness. They give people a way to solve problems without violence and without chaos. 3. Family laws. Family laws focus on family matters and relationships. They include rules about marriage, divorce, adoption, and the care of children. For example, if a couple divorces, family law decides how property and money should be divided. Family law also decides who should take care of the children and how often the other parent can visit them. If a child is being abused or neglected, family law steps in to protect the child and make sure they grow up in a safe environment. Family laws are very important because they protect the well-being of families and especially the safety of children. Finally, we have workplace laws. These are laws that protect both workers and employers. Their main purpose is to make sure that workplaces are safe, fair, and respectful. For example, in many countries, the law says that every worker must be paid at least a minimum wage for the hours they work. This means an employer cannot pay less than the legal amount. Workplace laws also say that employers must provide safe working conditions. For instance, construction workers must wear helmets, safety boots, and protective gear. Factory workers must have gloves, masks, or other equipment when dealing with machines or chemicals. These laws protect workers from being treated unfairly or being put into dangerous situations. But they also help companies. Clear rules create an environment where everyone knows what to expect, which reduces confusion and conflict. Even though we have looked at different types of laws, criminal, civil, family, and workplace, they are all connected by the same goal: keeping people safe, treating everyone fairly, and helping society run smoothly. Criminal laws protect you from harm and punish people who commit crimes. Civil laws help you solve disagreements peacefully and fairly. Family laws protect relationships, marriages, and children. Workplace laws make sure your job is safe and fair. Sometimes, these laws can overlap. For example, if someone damages your car, it could be a criminal case if they did it on purpose. It could also be a civil case if you want them to pay for the repairs. This shows how different types of laws can work together to make sure justice is done. Knowing about these types of laws helps you understand your rights and responsibilities in different situations. It also helps you know where to turn if you have a problem. If it's a crime, you go to the police. If it's a contract or a property issue, you go to a civil court. If it's about family, you go to a family court. If it's about your job, you can contact labor authorities or speak to your company's HR department. So laws are not just one big set of rules. They are more like tools in a toolbox. Each tool has a different purpose and is designed to fix a different kind of problem. The more you understand these tools, the better prepared you are to protect yourself and live confidently in society. Compliance in different situations. We've already learned that compliance means following rules, but it's important to see how this works in real life. Compliance is not only about big government laws, it's also about everyday rules we follow in different situations. Whether you are at work, school, in your community, or even online, compliance plays a key role in keeping life safe, fair, and organized. Let's take a closer look at some of these situations. 1. Compliance at work. Every workplace has rules, and many of them are about safety. For example, on a construction site, workers must wear helmets, safety boots, and sometimes gloves or goggles. In a hospital, doctors and nurses must follow hygiene rules, like wearing gloves and washing their hands. In an office, employees might need to follow data privacy rules to keep information safe. These rules are not just suggestions. They are meant to protect workers and ensure the workplace runs smoothly. Compliance at work also means following company policies such as arriving on time, completing your tasks honestly, respecting your colleagues, keeping workplace equipment safe. When workers follow these rules, the company becomes a safe, respectful, and productive place for everyone. How to stay compliant. Staying compliant is not about being scared of punishment or always worrying that someone is watching you. Instead, it's about understanding the rules and then choosing to follow them because you know they keep life safe, fair, and respectful for everyone. The first step in staying compliant is to know the rules and laws that apply to you. If you don't know the rules, you can't follow them. This means being aware of national laws in your country, local rules in your town or community, specific regulations in your school, workplace, or even online spaces you use. For example, if you work in a restaurant, there are health and hygiene rules you must follow, like washing your hands before handling food or storing meat at the right temperature. If you drive a car, you must know the traffic rules such as speed limits, traffic lights, and wearing a seatbelt. If you use social media, you should be aware of its community guidelines, like avoiding hate speech, not spreading false information, and protecting your password. The second step is to practice responsibility every day. Compliance is not just about knowing the rules, it's about turning that knowledge into action. For example, it's not enough to know that you should recycle, you must actually separate your waste into the right bins. It's not enough to know that you should wear a helmet on a construction site, you must put it on every single time. It's not enough to know you shouldn't cheat in school, you must resist the temptation during exams and do your own work. The third step is to stay updated. Rules can change over time. Governments pass new laws, schools update their codes of conduct, companies create new policies, and websites change their terms of service. If you don't stay informed, you might break a rule without realizing it. For example, a country may change its traffic rules and introduce new road signs. A company may add new safety steps after an accident. A social media app may update its privacy policy. The fourth step is to ask questions when you are unsure. Sometimes rules can feel confusing. Instead of guessing, it's always better to ask. You can ask your teacher if you don't understand a school rule. Ask your manager if you are unsure about a workplace policy. Look up government websites or trusted sources to check national laws. The final step is to make compliance a habit. When you follow rules regularly, it becomes automatic, like brushing your teeth in the morning. You don't think of it as a burden anymore. It just becomes part of your daily life. And when compliance becomes a habit, you not only protect yourself, but also contribute to a safer, fairer, and more organized society. So, staying compliant is about knowing the rules, laws, policies, guidelines, putting them into action every day, staying updated when rules change, asking questions when you are unsure, building habits so compliance becomes natural. When you do these things, you are not just avoiding punishment. You are actively helping to create a better, safer world for yourself and others. Common challenges people face. Even though following laws and rules is very important, many people struggle with staying compliant all the time. Life can be busy and complicated, and sometimes it feels easier to ignore the rules or take shortcuts. But ignoring them usually creates more problems than it solves. Let's look at some common challenges people face and why these can make compliance difficult. 1. Lack of awareness. One of the biggest reasons people fail to comply with rules is simply because they don't know them. Without awareness, it's very easy to make mistakes without realizing it. For example, a tourist driving in a new country might not know the local speed limits or traffic signs. A student might not know that copying text from the internet without credit is considered plagiarism. A worker may not realize their company has strict rules about data security. Not knowing the rules doesn't excuse breaking them, but it does show why learning and awareness are so important. 2. Confusing or complicated rules. Sometimes rules are not written in simple language. Legal documents, tax forms, and workplace policies can feel difficult to understand. This confusion may lead people to guess or assume what the rule means, which can result in mistakes. For example, tax laws are often very detailed and technical, and many people find them hard to follow without expert help. In workplaces, long policy manuals may overwhelm employees, so they may skim over important details. When rules are unclear, compliance becomes harder. 3. Peer pressure and influence from others. People are often influenced by the actions of those around them. If friends, classmates, or coworkers break the rules, it may feel normal to do the same. For example, if students in a class are talking during an exam, another student may feel tempted to cheat as well. If coworkers ignore safety rules, others may stop taking them seriously. Peer pressure can make people forget their responsibility, even when they know the rule. 4. Laziness or convenience. Sometimes people know the rules but break them because it feels easier. Following rules often requires effort and discipline. For example, separating your trash for recycling may take more time than just throwing everything in one bin. Wearing safety gear might feel uncomfortable, so workers may skip it. Waiting for the green light at an empty street can feel annoying, so some drivers cross early. In these moments, convenience wins over compliance, but this can lead to bigger risks or problems later. 5. Believing one small action doesn't matter. Another common challenge is when people think their individual actions are too small to make a difference. For instance, someone might throw trash on the ground and think, "It's just one wrapper, it won't hurt." Or a person might say, "If I don't pay for this one bus ride, it won't affect the whole system." But if many people think this way, small actions add up and create big problems. Compliance only works when everyone plays their part, even in small things. 6. Personal gain or selfishness. Sometimes people break rules because they think it benefits them. For example, lying on a tax form might save money in the short term, or ignoring safety steps might save time at work. But this kind of selfishness usually causes harm to others and often brings punishment later. Compliance requires people to think beyond themselves and consider the bigger picture. 7. Lack of enforcement. When rules are not enforced, people may stop taking them seriously. If no one checks bus tickets, some passengers might ride without paying. If police rarely punish speeding, drivers may drive too fast. Enforcement reminds people that rules matter, but relying only on punishment is not enough. People should also learn why the rule exists. Benefits of following laws and compliance. Now that we have talked about the challenges people face when trying to follow laws and rules, let's move on to something more positive: the benefits. Following laws and staying compliant is not just about avoiding trouble. It brings many good things into your life. These benefits make your life safer, happier, and more respected by others. Let's go through them one by one. 1. Personal safety. One of the biggest benefits of following laws is safety. Rules are not made just to control people. They are made to protect people. For example, think about traffic laws. Stopping at a red light or wearing your seatbelt may feel like small actions, but they can save lives in case of an accident. Speed limits are there to reduce crashes and protect both drivers and pedestrians. The same is true at work. Safety rules, like wearing a helmet, using gloves, or following machine guidelines, are made to prevent injuries. When you follow these rules, you are protecting your own health and well-being. Personal safety is the foundation of a good life. When you feel safe, you don't have to worry all the time. You can focus on other important things like studying, working, or spending time with family. 2. Better relationships. Another important benefit of following rules is better relationships with people around you. When you respect laws and rules, you also show respect for others and their rights. For example, if you keep noise levels down at night, your neighbors can rest peacefully. This creates a friendly and cooperative environment. In the workplace, following company policies helps build trust among coworkers. Everyone feels safe and valued when rules are respected. Even within families, following rules brings peace and harmony. For instance, respecting family agreements or house rules shows care for others at home. When people see that you are responsible and respectful, they are more likely to trust you, cooperate with you, and want to spend time with you. Good relationships make life easier, happier, and more enjoyable. 3. Trust and respect from others. Trust is one of the most valuable things you can earn in life, and following rules is a clear way to build it. When people know you obey laws, they can rely on you to do the right thing. For example, an employer may trust you with more responsibilities because they see you as reliable. Friends may depend on you because they know you are honest and fair. With trust comes respect. People respect those who act responsibly and follow the rules, even when it's difficult. Respect also leads to new opportunities, whether in your workplace, at school, or in your community. A good reputation makes others see you as dependable and mature, which can open many doors for your future. 4. Avoiding problems and penalties. Another clear benefit is avoiding trouble. Breaking rules often comes with consequences such as fines, punishments, or legal action. For example, speeding can result in a traffic ticket. Not paying taxes can lead to serious problems with the government. Ignoring safety rules can lead to accidents or even losing your job. These problems not only cost money but also waste your time and cause stress. By following the rules, you save yourself from unnecessary headaches and enjoy more peace of mind. You can live with confidence, knowing that you are not at risk of punishment. Final thought on benefits. So, when you follow laws and rules, you are not just avoiding trouble. You are actually protecting yourself, improving your relationships, earning trust and respect, and living a more peaceful life. Compliance should not feel like a burden. Instead, it is a way to build a safer, happier, and more respected future for yourself and for everyone around you. Following laws and compliance. Real-life stories. Following laws and rules is not just about avoiding trouble. It also gives many positive results in life. When you follow rules, you can focus on good things without worrying about getting into trouble. You keep your good record, which can be important for jobs, travel, school, and other opportunities. In short, being compliant is about creating a better life for yourself and those around you. Personal safety keeps you healthy. Good relationships make life more enjoyable. Trust and respect open new doors. And avoiding fines or penalties saves you from stress and problems. Even small actions can have big benefits. Wearing a helmet, paying bills on time, following traffic rules, or respecting your neighbors may seem minor, but they all make life better for you and others. The more you practice compliance, the more these benefits grow in your life. To understand this better, let's look at 2 real-life stories. These stories show how following rules can bring good results and how ignoring them can cause problems. Story 1. Anna, following the rules. Anna is a young woman who lives in a busy city. She works as a delivery driver and rides a motorcycle every day to deliver packages. The city has many traffic rules, like wearing a helmet, stopping at red lights, and driving within speed limits. Anna learned these rules carefully before getting her driving license. She always wears her helmet and follows the traffic signals. One rainy day, Anna was running late for her deliveries. She felt worried and thought about ignoring a red light to save time. But she remembered the rules and how important safety is. So, she stopped at the red light just like she always does. A few minutes later, a car from another street ran a red light and caused an accident in the intersection. Because Anna followed the rules, she avoided the crash completely. She stayed safe and continued her deliveries without any problems. Her boss noticed her careful and responsible behavior and even gave her a small bonus for being reliable. Lesson from Anna's story: following laws and rules may take a little more time or effort, but it keeps you safe and helps you succeed. Story 2. Mark, ignoring the rules. Now, let's look at Mark, a young man who did not follow the rules. Mark owns a small food shop. One day, to save money and time, he decided not to clean his kitchen properly. He thought the health and safety laws were too strict and believed inspectors would not visit often. Mark ignored the rules about cleanliness and food safety. He continued using dirty surfaces, keeping expired food, and storing ingredients improperly. A few weeks later, a health inspector came to check his shop. They found many problems. The inspector gave Mark a warning and told him to fix the issues quickly. But Mark ignored the warning and continued with his old habits. Because he didn't follow the rules, he was putting his customers at risk and could face serious consequences if he continued. After some time, the health inspector came back to Mark's shop. This time, they saw that nothing had changed. The kitchen was still dirty, food was stored improperly, and safety rules were ignored. Because of this, the inspector closed Mark's shop for safety reasons. Mark lost many customers and had to pay a large fine. He also lost his good reputation in the community. People no longer trusted him, and his business suffered. Mark's story teaches us an important lesson: ignoring laws and rules can cause big problems. Trying to save time or money by breaking rules may seem easy at first, but it can lead to losing your job, money, safety, and respect. On the other hand, Anna's story shows the opposite. She followed the rules, respected traffic laws, and was patient even when she was in a hurry. Because of that, she stayed safe and even earned a reward from her boss. These two stories are simple, but they show something very important. Laws and compliance are not just about avoiding punishment. They are about making smart choices that protect us, keep us safe, and help us build good lives. Every time you follow a rule, you are like Anna, making a choice for safety and success. When you ignore rules like Mark, you risk losing many good things in life. Keep these stories in mind during your daily activities. Think about how your choices can either protect you and others or cause problems. Following laws and rules is a way to take control of your life and make it better, step by step. Final tips for staying safe and compliant. As we finish today's lesson, here are some important tips to help you stay on the right path when it comes to laws and compliance. Following these tips will make your life safer, easier, and more respectful for yourself and those around you. 1. Keep learning about your rights and responsibilities. Laws and rules can change, and new rules may appear. It's important to stay informed about the rules that apply to you in your country, community, workplace, and online. For example, if you start a new job, learn the company's policies. If you move to a new city or country, learn the local laws and customs. Learning is a lifelong process. No one knows everything, but being curious and open to new information will help you stay safe and make better choices. 2. Always respect others. Respect is the heart of compliance. When you follow rules, you show respect for other people's safety, property, and feelings. Respect helps you build trust and good relationships with family, friends, coworkers, and neighbors. Respect also means listening carefully and being polite, even if you don't always agree. Treating others with fairness and kindness helps create a better and more peaceful community. 3. Think before you act. Sometimes we make quick decisions without thinking about the consequences. Acting without thinking can lead to mistakes or even accidents. Before you do something, ask yourself, is this safe? Is this fair to others? Does this follow the rules? Taking a moment to think helps you make better choices and avoid unnecessary problems. When it comes to laws and rules, taking a moment to think before acting can save you from many problems. Thinking carefully helps you make decisions that are safe, respectful, and legal. For example, before crossing the street, look both ways and wait for the green light. Before sharing information online, ask yourself, is this true? Is this kind? Before driving, check your speed and obey traffic signs. Taking a little time to think before acting can prevent accidents, misunderstandings, or mistakes. Another very important tip is, never be afraid to ask for help if you are unsure about a rule or law. No one expects you to know everything. If you don't understand a rule, or if you are unsure how to follow it, ask someone you trust. This could be a teacher, a manager at work, a family member, an official authority. Asking questions is a smart way to learn and avoid mistakes. It also shows that you are responsible and that you care about yourself and others. Remember, it is always better to ask and be sure than to guess and risk breaking a rule. These final tips may seem simple, but they are very powerful. By keeping them in mind, you will become more confident in following laws and rules. Protect yourself from harm or trouble. Build better relationships with the people around you. Help create a safer and fairer world for everyone. Thank you very much for listening to today's episode of Super English Talks. I hope you found it useful and interesting. Remember, learning about laws and compliance is not just for adults or experts. It is for everyone, including you. Keep practicing your English listening and speaking skills by thinking about these ideas and sharing them with others. Stay safe, respect the rules, and I'll see you in the next episode.